Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Stop Shitting on Yourself. I'm Jessica.
And I'm Jamie. How's your week been, Jessica?
This has been a really long week. I don't know what it is with like the month or the day, or it's just hot, but it's like the world's longest week this week.
No, it has. Trying to juggle work, and then just because everything's opening back up, I'm also trying to juggle another social life,
Yeah.
outside of an online social life.
Oh yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so it's been a long week. Definitely a long week. But speaking of, I've hung out with a few friends over the weekend, and
Mm.
obviously, all vaccinated, all safe, all of that.
Yes.
But I've noticed recently that long distance relationships have become a thing. I don't know if it's become a
Hmm.
thing, but a lot of people around me are either in a long distance relationship or have been, especially during this pandemic year or two.
Hmm.
Yeah. So I wanted to ask you, what's your take on long distance relationships?
Well, first of all, I've never been in like a true like long distance relationship.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I've like briefly sort of on and off dated this guy that was long
Oh,
distance. He was in a different state at the
okay.
time in college.
Okay.
But it was kind of like distance, or what is it? Not distance make your heart grow fonder, the other one where if you don't see them, you don't you don't remember
Oh,
them.
it's out of sight, out of mind, right?
Out of sight, yes, out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah, there we go. There we
So yeah, so
go.
it was very out of sight, out of mind. Like I think like we didn't really like text each other or anything
Oh,
when he was out of state, and then like he'll hit me up when he would be back in the state, like visiting and stuff. So
yeah.
I've
Okay.
never like actually experienced like a true long distance relationship. I
Mhm.
do know of many friends and even family members that's been in long distance relationships.
Has it
Let me
worked?
tell you, my cousin,
Uh-huh.
he's 3 years younger than me,
Okay.
and he's been with his girlfriend long distance
Uh-huh.
since middle school.
Oh
Middle
my God. Wait,
school.
wait. Put it into context. So like he's in his mid 20s,
So yeah,
right?
he's in his
So
mid
he's
20s.
Oh my
And
gosh.
they went to the same middle school together. And
Yeah.
then in high school, he moved to the States for high
Oh my
school, for
gosh.
college, and then he stayed here in the States to
Uh-huh.
work after he graduated college, and they've always been in a long distance relationship.
How does that even work? I feel like long distance relationships are so hard. And that's why I see half and half around me where long distance relationships have worked and they're married now or they're gonna get married.
Yeah.
And then I see the other half where it's like, well, shit didn't work out,
Yeah,
So
yeah.
for your cousin to have been in a long distance relationship since they were in middle
Middle
school
school.
and they're in their mid 20s ish now, that's
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah. So I feel like that's like the best case scenario that I know of. I
Yeah.
definitely do know of couples who's like they've either been long distance relationship at the start and then they came to the same state together or same place together, or they were like in a relationship together and then they went on to like a long distance relationship.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
But yeah, I it's kind of the same as you where it's like it either didn't work out.
Mhm.
Actually, for the most part, I think it didn't work out.
Oh, no. Okay.
Or like there's been like a few, like a handful that I can count
Oh, I
that's like either
see.
still together or like have gotten married. So
Mhm.
long distance relationships are really hard. Like even for me, I'm
Yeah.
like relationships are hard enough. I think we talk about it
Right.
on the podcast a lot. Like it's hard enough as
Yeah, yeah,
it
yeah.
is when you're in the same
Mhm.
like vicinity.
Mhm.
Um I don't know, that long distance just feels like a lot of work, especially if you're like intercontinent, if you're like in a different time zone.
Yeah.
God, like I need my sleep. I don't want to wake up early and I don't want to go to bed late.
Absolutely. And you have to schedule your conversations because you want to talk to somebody or talk to your person, but you have to schedule that phone call
Yeah,
because of the
yeah.
whole time difference. And if they are across the seas, then
Yeah.
yeah, that is very difficult. But I know people who have made it work that way.
Mhm, mhm.
Um, it's just like you said, it's so much more work than,
Yeah.
being with the person when it's not long distance. It's a lot of work.
Have you ever done it?
Um, Not with somebody overseas.
Mm.
I've definitely tried it out,
Okay.
So let me tell you, if you live in California, you know that if you're trying to start a long distance relationship, it could be that the person is in NorCal and you're in SoCal. You know, that
Yeah.
is a long distance relationship here because it's at least 300 or so miles from the Bay Area all the way to SoCal, right? And
Mm-hmm.
that, oh man, I mean, you can try. Like, it's not as long distance as, across the state or, across the seas. It's not as long
Right.
distance,
Right.
but yeah, I mean, I've tried that. And I think it takes a lot of communication, and a lot of transparency and honesty, and
Mm-hmm.
also making plans to like meet each other
Mm-hmm.
was really important. Like, I needed to know, like, hey, when's the next time we're hanging out? And like,
Yeah.
without having to be confused or have to question that person, if it was, it works out if it's mutual, where it's like, hey, I want to see you again. When am I going to see you? And let's plan out a date. Let's plan out what we're, where we're going to go or whatnot. So I think if you do it that way.
I think that's a good point. Like you were talking about like 300 miles, which to me already sounds really far.
Yeah.
So I think everyone's maybe like tolerance for long distance is also very different, right? Some people are
That's
like, if
true.
you're in the different state, like that's still okay. If you're in a
Right.
different country, obviously, I feel like cross country or like across the states, like if you're one in the West Coast, one in the East Coast, that's
Hmm.
considered long distance. Like for me,
Absolutely.
like if you're in a different city, if I can't drive to you within like an hour,
Yeah.
you're kind of long distance. Like you're not even gonna
Uh-huh.
show up on my Tinder. So like
Oh my
how do I even
gosh.
find you?
That's so true. It's like if you don't show up on a dating app for me, then like, you know what? First of all, I don't know, that's long distance.
Yeah,
At least in
yeah.
SoCal, that's long distance because
Yeah.
we have to drive everywhere. And in SoCal, that LA traffic sucks.
Yeah.
Okay. So if I have to go through like 2 hours of traffic for you, granted it could be like 20 miles, but like if it's 2 hours away,
It's
then
true.
that's
Yeah.
long distance for me, you know? So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that definitely is a factor, I would say,
Yeah.
definitely when it comes to being in a long distance relationship.
Definitely helps if you're in the same time zone, at least.
Yes.
But I know of so many long distance relationships where like they literally have to like set their alarm to wake up just to hop on
Mm-hmm.
a call with them. And
Right.
that's just a lot of work. But you're right. Like you have to make sure you set plans so you know exactly what you're looking forward to. Um,
Yeah.
and I don't know. I also feel like it's not for everyone. Like if you're
It's not.
someone that you need to know exactly what your partner is at all times, like that's not for you. Like you can't be that
Right.
like crazy boyfriend or girlfriend that's like, I know where are you? Like I need to know where you are
Right.
right now. Take a
Right.
picture.
Right. Especially if you're long distance, you have to understand that they're going to live their lives, but you also
Yeah.
have to make sure you live yours. And
Yeah.
I think that was kind of like the nice part about the long distance kind of relationship that I kind of had. Um,
Mhm.
because I was able to just have my own freedom too. But at the
Mhm.
same time, it's not like I was going out and hoeing around. It's not that. But um at the same time, like I could still like hang out with my friends. I can
Yeah.
still like do everything that I wanted to do in my own time. Like I didn't have
Mhm.
to check in with anyone or like, out of consideration, even like, hey, is it, like let's hang out with my friends today. Like I
Oh
didn't
yeah,
have to
yeah.
like, check with anybody for that. So it was kind of nice. I think
Mhm.
that part of it is kind of nice. But it's also nice when you like meet up with that person and you have that special time with them. And
Yeah.
I think if there is a good balance of that,
Mhm.
the first thing you said in this podcast about distance makes the heart grow fonder, I believe that that does come true. However, if there isn't clear communication and if you don't meet up as frequently and all of that, then it's
Mhm.
out of sight, out of mind. You
Totally.
know?
Yeah. Yeah, I also feel like there has to be a like definitive like timeline of when this is no longer going to be a long distance because
Right.
then I feel like if it's just going to drag, right? Like you don't know when you're like one of you has to compromise, I feel like, whether it's
Hmm.
like you're moving out of the state for work and then you're going to be
Right.
coming back in 2 years or whatever that is or like if you're going to move to, that person's location. I feel
Hmm.
like there's kind of have to be like a very defined like in 3 years this is going to be
Right.
resolved because if not like are you really going to just continuously date this person for, a really long time that's really far
Yeah.
away? And
Yeah,
there's no
exactly.
definitive timeline of when you guys are gonna be back together. Like that's
Right.
ooh, that's tough.
It is, unless that's your thing.
Yeah.
Like if that's your thing where you don't want to commit to anybody, you don't want to settle down, then hey, that could be your thing,
But
right?
then are you really in a relationship?
I mean, people have different definitions of what relationships
Yeah,
are,
okay.
right?
That's true,
It's
that's
not
true.
it's not our cup of tea, but
Yeah,
but there are people out there who are okay with that. But
yeah.
totally agree with you. I think there needs to be a definitive timeline. Um and at one point you got to say, well, look, like we're going to have to make sure one person compromises and we're going to be together, okay? Like we can't keep doing this long distance stuff. We got
Yeah,
to be together cuz like if you are in a relationship and you really love this person, you're going to want to spend a lot of time with them and you're
yeah.
going to want to maybe see if anything can develop further. And if you're already thinking about compromising and making a big move, you might
Mhm.
already be thinking about the next steps of the relationship too. And that next step of whether it's, living together or getting married, all of that stuff, it's hard to do long distance,
Yeah,
so
totally. Yeah.
so, there has to be that set time or else it's just, at one point you start to wonder what's the point of this?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, and, I think the funny thing is, like I guess maybe not funny because it is sad when a relationship kind of, like, breaks apart, but,
Yeah.
we talk about, having, like, a definitive timeline of when you guys are gonna be together in the same place,
Mhm.
like, physical space, right?
Right.
I also see a lot of my, friends and family, again, who's been in long distance relationships, who's,
Yeah.
like, so used to just checking up on them, like, every now and then
Right.
that when they finally get back to the same spot, they're like, "Oh my god." It's so much time with that person.
And it's so different too. Like you have to understand, like, once the long distance relationship is over and you're together now in the
Yeah.
same kind of area and you're meeting up with them more, you can't be just checking up on that person once in a while. Like that
Oh, yeah.
communication has to become a little bit more frequent if it wasn't frequent before. Like there's so many different ground rules that need to be set. And it's almost like starting
Mm.
a new relationship too, because you really see the ins and outs of this person
Oh my
when
god,
you
yeah.
in the same vicinity as each other, like there's a lot that comes out. And so you got to be ready to deal with that. And you got to be ready to compromise and communicate because it's seriously, it's like another relationship all over again with the same person.
Right. I mean, I think that's also why, a lot of people recommend couples move in together to before they get married. It's the same thing. It's like you could
Hmm.
like, throw everything in your closet really quickly if a person's just
Yeah.
coming to see you for like a day.
Right.
But over time, if you're living with that person, like, ooh, that like living by yourself versus living with someone is so
Hmm.
different. So if you're all of a sudden going from like long distance to now being in the same space, it's like,
Yeah.
wow, you got to develop a whole new set of things. And I do feel like I see a lot of relationships break that way because they're like, oh, I
Hmm.
don't, either like I don't want to see this person like all the time now anymore,
Yeah.
or it's just like, oh, there's just not the same way of living.
Yeah, or they just weren't the person that you thought they were if you started
Yeah,
off long
true, true.
distance. Because over long distance, you can kind of, I don't know, I guess you can put on a different persona even, or you could put your best self forward when you
Oh,
go
yeah.
on those dates, because they aren't as frequent and they're dates, right?
Right, right.
However, like when you're living with somebody, it's a little different. Like your habits come out and your habits might really be irritating to another person. Some of
Yeah.
us might be able to live with that habit, but sometimes certain habits are really like, let's not
Mm-mm.
keep that here. Let's make sure you break that habit and become a cleaner self, for example, because some people are dirty as shit. Like they
Yeah.
don't know how to clean up after themselves. Like they were dirty as in college and they're dirty as now,
Mm. Mhm.
so that might be something that you're not willing to put up with. And if
Mhm.
you're not willing to put up with it, you communicate. And if that person's not ready to like become cleaner in their
Mhm.
lives,
Yeah.
then that might just be like a deciding factor of like maybe I don't want to live with this person. Maybe
Yeah, totally.
this person's not for me. But
Yeah,
obviously there are
totally.
different things that come out, but that was just one example.
Totally. And I want to go back to the whole long distance thing real quick too. And because I do feel like a lot of times, and again, it's just this is just all like things that I've heard from other people
Mhm.
that's been in long distance relationships. But
Yeah.
one thing that I feel like a lot of people don't establish
Mhm.
the beginning of a long distance relationship is like ground rules, what you
Mm.
can and can't do. So you
Mhm.
find yourself in this weird position of like, do I tell them? Do I check in with them about this? Or like,
Yeah.
am I allowed to do this? Am I allowed to like go clubbing, for example? Am I
Mhm.
allowed to go to the bar with my friends, even? And some
Mm.
people are not okay with that. Some people are like, if I'm not there, like
Mhm.
you can't do these things that are potentially compromising, or some people just like don't care.
Mhm.
But just like we talked about in another episode where we talked about like ground rules for when you're on a break, like
Mhm. Right.
it definitely has to be ground rules for when you're super long distance, right? Because,
Yeah.
like you're kind of long distance. So maybe for a lot of people around you, you don't seem like you're quote unquote in a relationship,
Right.
but you are. You're still in a relationship just with
Mhm.
someone that like nobody else can see,
Right.
which now
Well,
kind of
I
sounds
mean,
like.
is that imaginary?
Yeah.
Like, where's your girlfriend? Where's your boyfriend, huh?
Yeah, exactly. But ground rules are very, very important. And I think that's why, like, I don't know. I've never been in a place where like I was dating someone and then we have to be in a long distance relationship. So
Mhm.
thank God. But also, like, hopefully that doesn't have to happen. But
Mhm.
I just feel like I don't know. There's just so much more you have to consider when you're in a long distance relationship. So I also don't think people consider enough before they
Yeah.
kind of take that leap.
Right. Because I think when they do take that leap, a lot of emotions are involved and you just love this
Yeah.
person, you think they're great and you put them on a pedestal and you're like, let's just jump into a relationship
Oh my
because
God, right?
feelings. So I don't think a lot of the logistics of the relationships part is thought out as much.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you love this person or you think that they're great or you like them or attracted to them, whatever reason.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, but yeah, that's definitely super important because like some people have different, I guess, tolerances of what they're okay with and what they're not okay
Mm,
with.
mhm, mhm.
So, you got to talk about your boundaries, like what's okay and what's not.
Yeah.
And if you want a partner that is okay with you going out and having drinks and going clubbing, then you better find somebody who's okay with that. But also,
Yeah,
not
yeah.
that they're okay, but like you also have to make sure that they know you're, still committed while doing all that stuff.
Yeah.
That communication still has to be there. So if you
Mhm.
leave them questioning, if you leave them confused, if you leave them kind of insecure because they see pictures of you with like other women or other men and like you're doing these things that are quite,
Questionable.
yeah, for somebody who says they're in a quote unquote relationship, then there's an issue. But
Right.
I feel like, even if you're dating not long distance, if you're together just, in close proximity, you should be able to have fun and go out and go
That's
clubbing
true,
even by
yeah.
yourself and with your friends. You just gotta make sure you do right by them and
Right,
not act
yeah.
like a fool out there. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, again, like I just don't really think it's for me, but then, I mean, who
Mhm.
knows, right? Because I've definitely heard of a lot of people that are like, long distance is not for me. I'm never gonna
Yeah.
do it. And then they end up in a long distance relationship and it,
Mhm.
ends up working out. And
Mhm.
so I do feel like it works. It for sure works. I've
True.
seen it work. My cousin's making it work.
Yeah, for how many years now?
Somehow. Yeah. I
Yeah.
I don't know. It still baffles me.
Right.
But hey, they're making it work and it's still, they're still together.
Yeah.
Um, much longer than most people in just normal
Yes.
relationships.
Yes.
Yeah, so but I just feel like you have to put in a lot of work, even more work than like in a close proximity relationship. But
Mhm.
just like everything that we talked about, like relationship is work and it's not for everyone. But I do think like communication is always important. And
Mhm.
you just kind of have to see sometimes taking that leap of faith.
Yeah, sometimes, I mean, especially with long distance, hell yeah. Leap of
Yeah.
faith is so important. It's like, oh, okay, I'm gonna do this.
Yeah.
Like, is it gonna work? I don't know. But hey, luckily for people in long distance relationships, if it doesn't work, you can just say bye and forget about it.
Oh wow.
They're not near you. They're not near you. They're like all the way, across the seas, or they're,
Yeah.
2 hours of traffic away. Who knows? But you can just
Yeah.
forget about it.
Yeah. Like, what are you gonna do? Are you gonna come find me? Great.
right? You're gonna fly over here and find me. I don't know. I don't know about that. So,
Yeah.
I guess pros and cons of it, but just not my thing. I know it's not your thing.
Mm.
But if you are in a long distance relationship right now because of COVID
Oh my
or
gosh. Yeah.
whatnot, good luck. Good luck.
Good luck.
I know it's not for me, it's not for you, like I said, but we do wish the best for all of you in a long distance
Yeah.
relationship. I hope that all that works out, man. Like,
Yeah. Oh man. Like, and I know we didn't even touch on this, but like
mhm.
COVID, people probably can't fly places. Like you might
Right.
be like stuck in a country,
Yeah.
and or like you might have all these plans and then, you just now haven't been able to see each other for like
Hmm.
a year and a half. Like,
Hmm.
good luck if you're making it through. Like even amidst all of this, then like maybe
Hmm.
you are meant for each other.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what?
Yeah.
That's what I tell my friends too. And, these are the friends that aren't in long distance relationships, but I've told some friends where they're like, yo, look, I don't know if I can be in a relationship with this person. It's really hard. We're stuck in the house together all the time. And like, we're noticing so many differences. We're fighting a
Mm,
lot. But the same friends who said that are still together and they've made it through the pandemic. So I tell them,
yeah.
if you can make it through something like this, right?
Mhm.
And you've been able to grow stronger together as a couple and not just brush
Right.
everything under the rug, then you're going to make it through life
Oh
together.
yeah. Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah. So I hardcore believe in that. If you all are still in a long distance relationship and you made it through this pandemic, maybe you were, maybe
Maybe.
you are soulmates.
Yeah,
Maybe.
exactly. Yeah. And for all of you guys who has been in long distance relationship before, who's made it work, if you have any tips and tricks for people who are doing it now, like let us know. Please let us
Yeah.
know. And then, if you have been in long distance relationship and, know that it's not going to work for you, then
Hmm.
maybe also give us a heads up of like what made those things not work.
Maybe. I don't know. I mean,
Things to watch out for.
okay. Okay. All
Yeah.
right. Red flags in a long distance relationship.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Yeah, like, going out clubbing and then like not being able to reach them for like a day.
Girl, that's a topic for another day.
Mm. Yeah. Well, anyway, that's everything that we have for you guys this week, and we will see you guys next Wednesday.
All right. Bye.
Bye.